Hey there, and welcome back to Buck Breakdown. I'm so glad you stopped by today because we need to have a real conversation. The kind that doesn't sugarcoat things but also doesn't leave you panicking in the middle of the night. If Social Security is part of your retirement plan, or if you're already receiving those monthly payments, what I'm about to share might feel a little uncomfortable at first. But here's the thing. Knowledge beats fear every single time. And by the time we wrap up today, you're going to understand exactly what's happening behind the scenes and, more importantly, what you can do about it. Before we dive in, I'd love to know, where are you watching from today? Drop your state in the comments. And if you're comfortable sharing, let us know your age range too. Are you in your 50s and planning ahead, your 60s and about to file, or maybe you're already collecting benefits? There's no judgment here, just real people having real conversations. Plus, it helps me understand who's in our community so I can keep making content that actually matters to you. All right, let's get into it. The reality check. So here's the deal. You're not going to wake up tomorrow and find an official letter from the Social Security Administration telling you your benefits are getting slashed in December. That's not how this works. And I'm not here to spread panic or clickbait nonsense. But, and this is a big but, just because there's no dramatic announcement doesn't mean nothing is changing. Think of it like this. When a ship starts sinking, the water doesn't flood every room at once. It starts in the lower decks, in the cracks and corners where most people aren't looking. By the time everyone notices, the damage is already underway. Here's what we know for certain, straight from the government's own reports. The Social Security Trust funds, the reserves that keep the system running, are projected to be depleted by around 2033 to 2035. The most recent estimates point to 2033 for the Old Age and Survivors Insurance Trust Fund. When that happens, if Congress doesn't step in with a fix, benefits could be reduced by approximately 21% to 23% across the board. That's not a maybe. That's math. Now, some people hear that and think, well, that's a decade away. They'll figure it out. And maybe they will. But here's what history teaches us. Big systemic problems don't announce themselves with fireworks. They start with small, quiet shifts that most people miss until it's too late. A form gets harder to fill out. A review takes 6 months instead of 6 weeks. An approval becomes a denial. A payment gets delayed for verification purposes. That's the real story. And December is one of those pressure points in the calendar where things tend to shift. Why December matters. Let me explain why December isn't just another month. This is when the federal government closes out its fiscal year activities, when agencies like Social Security review their budgets and spending, and when internal policy tweaks often get pushed through quietly. It's also when year-end reports get finalized and sent to Congress. If you've ever worked in government, corporate, or even nonprofit sectors, you know how it goes. When the budget's tight and the year's almost over, decisions get made fast. Sometimes those decisions involve finding ways to control costs without making headlines. And when it comes to Social Security, controlling costs doesn't mean shutting the whole thing down. It means slowing the flow in ways that are technically legal and procedurally justifiable. Think longer wait times for approvals, more frequent reevaluations for people already receiving benefits, stricter interpretation of eligibility rules, more documentation required for claims. These aren't dramatic cuts, they're friction points, and friction costs people time, money, and peace of mind. So when I say December matters, I'm not saying your check vanishes on December 1st. I'm saying it's a window when administrative changes tend to happen, and those changes hit some people a lot harder than others. Who gets hit first? Let's talk about who's most vulnerable when the system starts tightening up. Because contrary to what you might think, it's not always the poorest or the newest retirees who feel it first. It's the people whose situations are complicated, the ones whose paperwork doesn't fit neatly into a box. First up, people applying for Social Security Disability Insurance, or SSDI. If you're in the middle of filing for disability or thinking about it, I need you to pay close attention. The backlog for disability claims is already enormous. We're talking about people waiting 12, 18, even 24 months just to get an initial decision. Approval rates have been dropping for years, and the scrutiny on applications has never been tighter. Why? Because disability benefits are expensive, and they're one of the easiest areas for the administration to slow down without making big public waves. Your application might get flagged for additional medical review. You might be asked to submit records from doctors you saw 10 years ago. You might get scheduled for an in-person evaluation with a government-contracted physician who has no history with you. None of this is cutting your benefits, technically, but it delays them. And delays save the system money while leaving you in limbo. Second group, people with non-traditional work histories. Maybe you were self-employed for part of your career. Maybe you had gaps in employment due to caregiving or health issues. Maybe you worked part-time, gig jobs, or under the table at some point. Your benefits are legitimate. You earned them, but your file doesn't look like the standard W-2 employee who worked 40 years at the same company. Guess whose applications get extra scrutiny? Guess whose benefits are more likely to get flagged for review? That's right, yours. Not because you did anything wrong, but because the system finds it easier to question what it doesn't immediately understand. Third, early retirees who are still earning income. Here's where it gets tricky. If you claimed Social Security before reaching your full retirement age, which is 66 or 67 for most people, and you're still working and earning money, Social Security reduces your benefits if you exceed the annual earnings limit. For 2025, that limit is $23,400. For every $2 you earn above that, they withhold $1 in benefits. Now, here's what most people don't realize. That earnings limit could be adjusted downward in future budget cycles, meaning more of your benefits get withheld even if your income stays the same. And you won't see a headline that says, "We cut your benefits." You'll just see a line on your statement that says, "Earnings withholding adjustment." Fourth, survivor beneficiaries, widows, widowers, and dependents. If you're receiving benefits based on a deceased spouse's work record, or if you're receiving both your own retirement benefit and a survivor benefit, your situation is already complex. Add in factors like remarriage, additional income sources, or dependent children, and your case file becomes a maze. When the system gets stressed, complex cases are the first to get delayed, paused, or sent back for additional verification. You might get a letter asking you to prove your marital status, your income, your living situation all over again, even though nothing changed. And while you're gathering paperwork, your payment might be on hold. Here's the common thread. None of these groups are being targeted because they're undeserving. They're vulnerable because their cases require more manual review, more judgment calls, more time, and when the system is under pressure, time equals money. The warning signs. So how do you know if you're being affected? Because like I said, this doesn't come with a press release. It comes as a letter in your mailbox, a notice in your online account, or a missing deposit in your bank. Here are the early warning signs to watch for. Your payment is late or smaller than expected. Even a one-time delay can be a red flag. Don't assume it's just a glitch. Check your account immediately. You receive a letter requesting verification or additional documents. Social Security has the right to review your eligibility at any time, but if you suddenly get asked to verify information you've already provided, that's worth paying attention to. Your application or appeal is taking longer than the standard processing time. Delays aren't always signs of a problem, but if you're way past the expected timeline, follow up aggressively. You're asked to attend a review or reevaluation. For disability recipients especially, being called in for a continuing disability review, CDR, can be stressful. Make sure you prepare thoroughly and respond to every request on time. You notice errors in your earnings record. This is a big one. If Social Security has the wrong information about your work history, it can reduce your benefit amount, sometimes by hundreds of dollars a month. Check your record at least once a year. None of these things mean you're being personally targeted, but they do mean the system is under stress, and you need to stay on top of your file like your financial future depends on it, because it does. What you can do right now. Okay, let's shift gears. I don't want to leave you feeling helpless because you're not. There are specific, concrete steps you can take right now to protect yourself and stay ahead of potential problems. Step 1, create or log into your My Social Security account. If you don't have one yet, go to ssa.gov and set it up today. This is your command center. It's where you can check your earnings history, see your estimated benefits, view any letters or notices, and update your contact information. Make it a habit to log in at least once a month. Treat it like checking your bank account. Step 2, Review your earnings record with a fine-tooth comb. Every year you worked and paid into Social Security should be listed. If there are gaps, zeros, or numbers that look wrong, you need to correct them. Contact Social Security immediately and bring documentation. W-2s, tax returns, pay stubs. Don't assume they'll catch the error on their own. Step 3. Keep your contact information current. If you move, change your phone number or switch banks, update your information with Social Security right away. Missing a critical letter because it went to an old address can cost you months of benefits. Step 4. Respond to every request immediately. If Social Security asks for documentation, don't wait. Send it as soon as possible and keep copies of everything. If you're not sure what they're asking for, call them or visit your local office. Don't let a simple miscommunication derail your claim. Step 5. Consider getting professional help if your situation is complicated. If you're applying for disability, dealing with survivor benefits, or navigating an appeal, it might be worth consulting with a Social Security attorney or advocate. Yes, they take a percentage of back pay if you win, but they also know how to navigate the system in ways most people don't. Step 6. Stay informed, but don't panic. Keep watching channels like this one, read updates from credible sources, and pay attention to news about Social Security reform. But don't let fear drive your decisions. Make choices based on facts, not rumors. Look, I'm not going to lie to you. The Social Security system is under financial pressure, and it has been for years. The trust funds are depleting, and without congressional action, benefit reductions are coming. That's reality. But here's the other reality. Millions of Americans depend on Social Security. It's not a luxury. It's a lifeline. And because of that, there's enormous political will to find solutions, even if it takes too long and comes down to the wire. Lawmakers know that cutting Social Security is political suicide. Will they raise the retirement age? Maybe. Will they increase payroll taxes? Possibly. Will they means test benefits or adjust cost of living formulas? Could happen, but total collapse? Extremely unlikely. What's more likely is that we'll see a patchwork of smaller changes over the next decade, some visible, some buried in bureaucratic processes that gradually reshape how the system works. And the people who will navigate those changes best are the ones who stay informed, stay organized, and stay proactive. That's you. That's why you're here. All right, we covered a lot today, and I want to thank you for sticking with me through this conversation. I know it's not the easiest topic, but it's one we can't afford to ignore. Here at Buck Breakdown, we're all about giving you the straight truth on programs that matter to seniors, Social Security, COLA updates, SNAP benefits, Medicare changes, all of it. No hype, no fear-mongering, just honest, clear information you can actually use. If this video helped you, do me a favor. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future updates. And please share this with someone who needs to hear it. A parent, a friend, a neighbor. The more people who understand what's happening, the better prepared we all are. Drop a comment and let me know. Did this change how you're thinking about your Social Security? Are you going to check your account today? I read every single comment and I love hearing from you. Remember, the future isn't written in stone. It's written by the people who pay attention and take action. Let's stay sharp, stay informed, and stay ahead of the curve together. Thanks for watching Buck Breakdown. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.